1976, rock music did not move in one direction. It filled stadiums, spoke through a plastic tube, remembered a lost ship, rediscovered teenage desire, and began tearing down its own rules. Tonight, 10 titles have disappeared. You will hear the sound, the origin story, the chart impact, and the memory each recording left behind, but never its name. Write your answers from number 10 to number 1. Give yourself 1 point for the song and 1 bonus point for naming it before the final round. And stay out of the comments until the challenge is over. One glance could ruin all 10. Some became hits. Others barely troubled the charts and changed rock anyway. Ready? Number 10 begins with a record company asking for something safer, and a Canadian trio answering with 20 minutes of science fiction. Number 10. Imagine discovering a guitar in a world where nobody is permitted to make private music. At first, the instrument is only wood, wire, and mystery. Then one human being learns that a hand can create beauty without permission. He carries his discovery to the rulers, expecting wonder. They destroy it. Does that story already point you toward a sidelong, progressive rock epic? Rush entered 1976. With very little security, their previous album had disappointed commercially. The following tour became known inside the band as the Down the Tubes tour, and the label did not want another concept record. Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart chose the opposite. They spent roughly 6 months writing and about 1 month recording at Toronto Sound with producer Terry Brown. The finished suite ran more than 20 minutes and moved through 7 connected sections. An overture, a totalitarian temple, the discovery of the lost instrument, rejection, a dream, despair, and a final seizure of power. Neil Peart's story drew on dystopian ideas associated with Ayn Rand. Yet the emotional center was painfully immediate. A creative person brings something new to an authority that controls every book, picture, and song, and is told that originality does not fit the plan. Was Rush writing about the future, or about the record executives waiting in the present? The gamble worked. Rush's official history calls the album their first major commercial success. It entered Billboard's album chart, and eventually earned triple platinum certification in the United States. More importantly, the band won the freedom to follow its own ideas for decades. That is why fans do not hear this suite only as fantasy. They hear 3 musicians risking their career rather than surrendering it. Final clue. The artist is Rush. The title contains only 4 digits and names a future year exactly 136 years after 1976. What is it? Number 9. The next recording begins like an open highway. A sharp snare, ringing guitars, and a young voice refusing to accept that the place where she lives must be the limit of her life. Can you picture a dashboard at night, white road lines passing beneath the headlights, and a destination that has not been chosen yet? Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers recorded the track at Shelter Studios in Hollywood on the 4th of July, 1976, the United States bicentennial. Petty built it around an acoustic idea and a Bo Diddley-style pulse. Stan Lynch turned that pulse into a racing drum part, while Petty and Mike Campbell locked their guitars together so tightly that the sound seemed to sparkle and accelerate at once. The song closed the band's self-titled debut album in November 1976. America barely noticed at first. The album reportedly sold only about 12,000 US copies during its first 8 months, and the song missed the American Hot 100. Britain heard the band sooner. The single reached number 40 there in 1977. FM airplay eventually made it feel far larger than its original chart history. One rumor tried to make the story darker. Because Petty came from Gainesville and the lyric mentions traffic on Route 441, people claimed it described a University of Florida student who jumped from a residence tower. Petty firmly rejected that tale as an urban myth. The song was not an obituary. It was about longing the private belief that a wider life must exist somewhere beyond the noise outside. Film later gave that freedom a frightening shadow. In The Silence of the Lambs, a young woman sings along while driving, unaware that danger is waiting just ahead. The audience knows more than she does, so the recording's optimism becomes almost unbearable. Then came a final emotional circle. On the 25th of September 2017, at the Hollywood Bowl, this was the last song Tom Petty ever performed in concert. Final clue: the singer is Tom Petty, the group is the Heartbreakers, and the two-word title names the young woman at the center of his dream. Can you identify it? Number 8. Before 1976, this composition had already failed once. Its studio version appeared in 1975 and went nowhere. The songwriter later remembered the single doing virtually nothing. Then, an audience, a live microphone, and a guitar that seemed to speak transformed the same piece into a phenomenon. Do you remember the first time an electric guitar appeared to form human vowels? Peter Frampton had encountered the basic idea years earlier at Abbey Road while playing on George Harrison's All Things Must Pass sessions. Nashville steel guitarist Pete Drake placed a tube in his mouth and made his instrument seem to sing. Frampton never forgot the sound. After receiving a roadworthy talk box, he practiced until he could shape guitar notes with his mouth and communicate with a crowd. The live performance used for the 1976 single was recorded at Long Island Arena in 1975. Acoustic guitar and a warm voice create intimacy. Then, the talk box arrives as a playful answer from somewhere between a person and an amplifier. Audiences leaned forward and cheered because the sound felt impossible. The single climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. The double live album that carried it spent 10 non-consecutive weeks at number 1, remained on the chart for 97 weeks, became America's best-selling album of 1,976, and eventually sold more than 8 million US copies. FM stations often played whole album sides, making a concert recorded in several venues feel like the shared event of the year. Listeners were not merely hearing a polished studio product. The crowd became part of the band, and the person at home became part of the crowd. Final clue: the artist is Peter Frampton. The 4-word title is a direct request for guidance, repeated while his guitar appears to answer. What song is it? Score check. You have 3 answers. 2 correct means your 1976 radio is tuned in. 3 correct, and especially 3 before the final clues, means this year may still live in your muscle memory. Do not check the comments. Number 7 turns the excitement of driving to a concert into a miniature tragedy. Number 7. The next track does something unusual for an arena anthem. It tells you the ending before the singer knows it. A radio report mentions a fatal crash. A car door closes. An engine starts. Music pours from the dashboard, the vehicle accelerates, and a young fan believes he is heading toward the greatest night of his life. By the end, the opening news report has become his own story. Can you hear tires on pavement beneath those twin guitars? Kiss had broken through with a raw live album in 1975. For the follow-up, producer Bob Ezrin wanted something more cinematic and disciplined. He pushed Paul Stanley to deepen an unfinished concert anthem. Stanley remembered hearing about a fan who had been killed while traveling to a Kiss show. The contradiction haunted him. Someone was going to celebrate life through rock and roll, yet never arrived. Ezrin framed the recording with radio, car, and collision effects. He also helped construct the harmonized guitar solo, first outlining its melody on piano, before Ace Frehley and Stanley turned it into one of the band's most recognizable guitar passages. The result sounded less like a simple opening track than a short film made for stereo speakers. Commercially, the story took a strange turn. The hard rock track was issued as the A-side, but radio programmers discovered the piano ballad on the reverse. That B-side, Beth, rose to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, while the intended single failed to chart. The parent album reached number 11, became Kiss's first platinum studio release, and was later certified double platinum. Time reversed the verdict. The failed A-side became a permanent concert opener and lent its name to a 1,999 movie about teenagers trying to reach a Kiss show. Final clue: the band is Kiss. The destination is the Michigan metropolis known as the Motor City, and the title turns that destination into rock territory. What is your answer? Number 6. This is the only song in the challenge that functions almost like a public memorial. On the 10th of November, 1975, a 729-foot Great Lakes freighter encountered a brutal storm on Lake Superior. It carried iron ore and a crew of 29. No distress signal was sent. The ship disappeared, every man aboard was lost, and the exact cause remains debated. Which 1,976 recording made millions of people remember a ship they had never seen? Gordon Lightfoot read the early Associated Press reporting and a Newsweek article about the disaster. The magazine misspelled the vessel's first name, and Lightfoot felt the error dishonored the dead. He responded not with a conventional pop lyric, but with a 6.5-minute narrative built from weather, geography, radio messages, and the accumulating certainty that rescue would not come. The arrangement barely raises its voice. Acoustic guitars move like dark water, and a repeating lead figure circles without finding shore. Lightfoot stays controlled because grief becomes stronger when the narrator refuses to exploit it. Radio executives could have rejected a song that long and that solemn. Listeners made the decision for them. It reached number 1 in Canada and number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. It also earned a Grammy nomination for Song of the Year. A regional maritime disaster entered international memory. The recording's legacy went beyond charts. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society says Lightfoot's ballad inspired worldwide interest in the vessel. At Mariners Church in Detroit, bells had rung 29 times for the crew. After Lightfoot died in 2023, the church rang 30 times, one final toll for the man who carried their story forward. It is memory performing a duty. Final clue: the singer is Gordon Lightfoot. The lost freighter was named Edmund Fitzgerald. Without saying the exact title, can you write it down? Number 5. Now, leave the cold lake and enter a studio filled with voices. Except the enormous choir you hear does not actually exist. The lead singer sounds exhausted, proud, desperate, and almost angry at heaven. Behind him, a congregation answers. But that congregation was built from only 3 people, layered again and again until Freddie Mercury, Brian May, and Roger Taylor seemed to become roughly 100 gospel singers. Can you hear loneliness turning into something large enough for an arena to share? After the unprecedented success of their previous epic single, Queen faced an impossible question. What could follow it? Mercury did not repeat the operatic formula exactly. He looked toward Aretha Franklin and the emotional force of gospel. Brian May later explained that Freddie wanted to inhabit that world. The new recording would use Queen's studio precision to create a gospel epic. Queen recorded the parent album between July and November 1976 and produced it themselves for the first time. The song begins with a single exposed voice, asking why effort and faith have not produced connection. Each returning chorus adds mass, as if private pain is recruiting witnesses. The arrangement does not solve the loneliness. It makes thousands of people feel less alone inside it. Released late in 1976, the single reached number 2 in Britain. Its album went to number 1 there, and number 5 in the United States, becoming gold and later platinum in America. Its most moving second life arrived at Wembley Stadium in 1992. At the tribute concert for Mercury, George Michael sang it with Queen and the London Gospel Choir. The performance later appeared on the 5 Live EP, which reached number 1 in Britain in 1993. A plea, once voiced by Mercury, had become a stadium saying goodbye to him. Anybody find me? Final clue, the band is Queen. The title does not ask for fame, money, or salvation. It asks for another human being worthy of affection. Can you name the song? Halfway score check. 5 answers are on your page. 3 correct means you know the year. 5 correct means you remember not only the records, but the rooms in which they found you. The next song looks backward from adulthood and asks how quickly youth disappeared. Number 4. Some nostalgia tells us that youth was perfect. This song is more honest. It remembers awkward bodies, borrowed confidence, a parked car, a summer relationship, and the moment an older man realizes that time has been moving even while he slept. Does the sound of distant thunder ever return you to a year you thought you had forgotten?
Out in the back seat of my 60 Chevy.
Bob Seger had spent years as a major regional figure around Detroit without becoming a national star. The idea for this song sharpened after he watched American Graffiti. The film's cars, clothes, and early 1960s restlessness convinced him that his own part of America also deserved a coming-of-age story. The memories were personal. Seger drew from a teenage love affair with a woman whose boyfriend was away in the military. When he returned, she married him. Seger spent about 6 months shaping those memories into adult reflection. The title track was recorded at Nimbus 9 Studios in Toronto. Much of the Silver Bullet Band had already gone home, so Seger worked with local musicians. The recording expands and contracts, like Recollection itself. Intimate acoustic passages, surging choruses, then a suspended late section where the adult narrator listens to the night and measures the years. The single entered the Hot 100 in December 1976 and eventually reached number 4 in March 1977. Its album climbed to number 8 and was later certified 6 times platinum in the United States. At 31, Seger finally crossed from regional hero to national voice. The song's deepest effect is not simply that it makes listeners remember being young. It lets them feel 2 ages at once: the teenager who believes the night will last forever, and the adult who knows it did not.
Waiting on the thunder.
Final clue, the artist is Bob Seger. The 2-word title joins darkness with physical action, and later turns that action into a metaphor for time. What is it? Number 3. Few guitar lines sound more like a front door flying open. 2 lead guitars rise together. A bass line walks in with a grin. The singer begins describing a familiar gang returning to familiar streets. And suddenly the listener is not outside the story. There is a place waiting at the table. Who did you picture returning when this record came through the radio? Thin Lizzy desperately needed a breakthrough in 1976. The band had worked hard without securing America, and their new album carried the pressure of a possible last chance. Yet they almost left this song off it. Guitarist Scott Gorham later remembered that the group considered it no more than a decent album track. Their manager urged them to reconsider. Phil Lynott originally explored a military homecoming idea, then reshaped it into a Saturday night gang story. The characters drink, fight, flirt, and act temporarily invincible. Lynott kept them loose enough for every audience to substitute its own people. while Gorham and Brian Robertson's harmonized guitars made the reunion unmistakable. The breakthrough did not begin with a grand label plan. Two disc jockeys in Louisville, Kentucky, started playing the album track repeatedly. Listeners called. Other stations followed. While touring America, the band's manager entered the dressing room and announced they had a hit. The musicians reportedly had to ask which song it was. The single reached number 12 in the United States, number 8 in Britain, and number 1 in Ireland. It became Thin Lizzy's international calling card and later appeared in the deliberately time-bending soundtrack world of A Knight's Tale. Its promise is simple. Absence can end. The people who made life exciting may return, and one guitar harmony can make the old town feel young. Final clue. The band is Thin Lizzy, led by Phil Lynott. The title announces that a male group has returned to its familiar streets. Can you write the exact words? Number 2. This next record lasts barely more than 2 minutes, contains no guitar solo, and begins with a chant simple enough for 50,000 strangers to shout together. 4 young men from Queens removed almost everything rock musicians had been taught to display. Long solos, elaborate transitions, expensive clothes, and the distance between the stage and the kid in the back row. Can you hear, "Hey, ho, let's go"? Without imagining a crowd answering, the Ramones had developed their attack at CBGB in New York. Leather jackets, ripped jeans, downstrokes, short songs, and almost no pause between them. Their 1,976 debut album compressed 14 tracks into roughly 29 minutes. Producer Craig Leon helped them record it at Plaza Sound, above Radio City Music Hall, in about a week for approximately $6,400. The opening track and debut single offered the entire philosophy at once. Johnny Ramone's guitar became a hard sheet of rhythm. Dee Dee and Tommy Ramone shaped a title that combined a term associated with sudden military attack and a playful pop dance word. Joey sang with a mixture of toughness, humor, and bubblegum innocence. The result was aggressive without becoming heavy and catchy, without sounding polished. Commercially, almost nothing happened. The single did not chart. The album stopped at number 111 on Billboard, and initially sold only a few thousand copies. But influence does not always arrive through a cash register. When the Ramones played London on the 4th of July, 1976, the chant later became a sports arena standard, owned even by spectators who had never bought a Ramones album. In 2012, the Library of Congress added the debut to the National Recording Registry, citing its do-it-yourself example and influence on punk, hardcore, and alternative rock. Final clue, the band is the Ramones. The first title word suggests lightning-fast warfare. The second is a 3-letter word for a lively beat or dance. What song is it? Number 1. The final recording did not politely request a place on the radio. It sounded as if the radio had been seized. A guitar chord tears through the speakers. The singer introduces himself like a threat, stretching his words with contempt. The performance is not polished rebellion made safe for purchase. It feels unstable, as though the record might insult the person who bought it. What did British rock sound like at the exact moment punk stopped being an underground rumor? The Sex Pistols recorded their debut single at Wessex Studios in London in October 1976 with producer Chris Thomas and engineer Bill Price. Steve Jones supplied the massive guitar wall. Paul Cook drove it forward. Glenn Matlock anchored the song. And Johnny Rotten delivered the words with a voice that turned disgust into theater. EMI released the single on November 26. It reached only number 38 in Britain. But the modest peak hides the size of the shock. 5 days after release, The band appeared on Bill Grundy's early evening television program Today. The interview collapsed into taunting and profanity. Newspapers erupted, concerts were canceled, and EMI withdrew the record before dropping the band in January 1977. For many adults, the scandal confirmed that punk was dangerous. For teenagers excluded by polished stadium rock, the same headlines acted as free advertising. The record said technical perfection was not the only source of power. Anger, identity, and nerve could start a band. That is why number 1 is not the year's biggest seller. It is the year's loudest dividing line. Frampton proved how enormous rock could become. The Ramones proved how little equipment it needed. The Sex Pistols proved how much trouble one single could cause. Final clue. The title pairs a political condition in which formal government disappears with the initials of the band's home country. It was the Sex Pistols' first single. What is your answer? How many did you identify from the stories alone? Post one numbered comment from 10 down to 1. Then add your score out of 20. 1 point for each correct title and 1 bonus point whenever you solved it before the final clue. Please place a spoiler warning at the top of your comment so the next listener can play fairly. And tell us which story changed the way you hear its song. Rush risking its future, Petty's Highway Dream, Frampton's speaking guitar, The Fan Who Never Reached the Concert, The 29 Sailors, Queen's 3-person choir, Seeger Measuring the Years, Thin Lizzy's accidental radio breakthrough, the Ramones' $6,400 revolution, or the television scandal that announced British punk. In 1976, rock could be 20 minutes long or barely 2. It could sell 8 million albums or fail to chart. What mattered was whether it left the world sounding different afterward. So, how many titles were already in your memory before the final clue?